Hello, everyone. This is Janine from Symphony Reads. Please visit us on our website, www.symphonyreadswithanS.com. Visit us on Facebook at Symphony Reads with an S, Twitter at Reads with an S Symphony, and always you can send us an email, and that is symphonyreads with an S at gmail.com. And it's a little nippy out there today, so I just hope everyone is keeping themselves warm. Don't be afraid to put on that heavier jacket. I got a coat on because I don't need to get sick, and I'm not trying to pass anything on to my babies at home. So again, I will not be before you long, and honestly speaking, I wasn't even sure if I had something to share today. Um, because it's just been one of those type of weeks for me, and I just wasn't sure, and I try to be true. So if it's a time where I don't think I can give you the truth, or that nothing, ringing out, I don't believe in sharing or just to be talking. And so today was one of those days that I really felt like I might not have to do a post because I don't want to talk just to talk, and I really don't really have anything to talk about. Which I was like, I don't know. So as I was coming out the grocery store, I started thinking about some things, and some things were being revealed to me, and I was just like, wow. And it was from some conversations too, um, that I had on Monday. And it brought a lot to me, and I would like to share those things with you. We all have done things in our lives that are wrong, that we know are wrong, that we know to be sin. And those things that we knowingly know is wrong are called trespasses. So if you ever heard the Our Father, when it says, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, it's not a sin when it's all sin. But when you don't know that you're in a sin, but it's still sin. Um, but we're talking about a sin that we know is sin. So if you look at that again, it is forgive us what we knowingly know we're doing is wrong, and we doing it anyway, as we going to forgive others who we know they doing us wrong, but we're doing it anyway, and we know that they're doing it anyway. That's what I'm talking about. Um, like another example, you know, prostitution. We know it to be wrong, but yet a lot of people do it anyway, whether it's with man or woman. That's what I'm talking about. We know it's wrong, but yet we choose to go through that door and do it anyway. Um, that's what this is. So it's dealing with those things. And nobody is excluded, because I'm pretty sure you're doing some stuff, I'm doing stuff. We all are doing something we just know is wrong. But in that, we have a tendency to want to get to the end before we even before we even started at the beginning. What does that mean? We want the test results before we even took the test. We want to take the test before we even drove ourselves or someone drove us to the test. That's what I mean. 12-step program in AA. And no, I've never been to an AA meeting. I just, for some reason, I know these things because people tell me. So I know in AA they do a 12-step program, and they never ask you to start with the 12th step. You need to go through the first step to the second step to the third step, fourth, fifth, all the way until you get to the 12th. They're never going to tell you start at the end or start at the middle. It's always at the beginning. And that's what it is also in our lives. We can't expect the results before we even done the things. Excuse me. We can't expect the results before we even done the things that would get us to the results. how does that look when I'm talking scripturally? I'm saying this. We can't keep praying to God to forgive us of something that we knowingly know is wrong before we even, one, bring it to Him. And two, we can't bring it to Him until we acknowledge the fact that this is what we're doing. Now, we know we're doing it wrong, but have we ever brought it to God to say, you know what, this is wrong? I'm just weak. I need a lot of help in this area because I keep doing it and I keep doing it and I keep doing it. That's where the prayer without ceasing. But we are praying for the end result to be forgiven before we even brought it to God. He likes us to come before Him with whatever we're coming before Him for. And then before we can even get to Him, we have to acknowledge that I need help because I know what I'm doing is wrong. A person who is doing drugs, they need help. And they know they're doing the drugs, they know it's wrong, but they haven't even acknowledged, you know what, I know it's wrong and I need help to get from that. I need help to stop drinking. They have to admit the help comes when they realize that they need the help from whatever it is that they keep repetitively doing that is wrong. In my life, it's the same thing. I could be repetitively doing something that is wrong, but I don't want to admit it, like openly admit that it's wrong. So I don't go to the throne. I don't come to God with it. But yet I expect to be forgiven for it before I even done the first two things, which is really realize and admit to myself that it's wrong, and then come to the throne to say, Lord, this is what I'm doing. I know it to be wrong. You know it to be wrong. It is displeasing to you. I need it to get as displeasing to me, but I need help. I don't know how to stop doing whatever it is I'm doing. And I believe from that confession and coming to the throne with it, we will get to the place in God where we can stop that thing. And then we can get to the forgiveness. We are forgiven, but you have to acknowledge what you're doing is wrong. We have to acknowledge it. Then we can bring it. And I believe the forgiveness will come in just acknowledging it. I am wrong here. And that's where I'm at today. That is where I am at today. And we always say the scripture, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. How does that look? Because I know I'm doing something that is wrong, I know that I can do that thing. I can confess that thing. I can bring it to God because He is going to strengthen me as I come before Him in a jacked up state with this thing that has been ailing me, whether it's been for 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, 10 years, 30 years, 40 years. I don't really know what that thing is. But He is saying you can do it because I'm here. I will strengthen you. And it takes a lot. I don't know about you, but I can only speak for myself. It takes a lot to openly admit you're wrong. And it takes a lot, and I do mean a lot, to come to God to say, I'm wrong. And I know I'm wrong, but I'm wrong. I have to confess that thing. It takes a lot to come to Him. I'm talking from a humanly perspective. It takes us a lot to admit that we have done something wrong and to say, God, I've done this and it's wrong. I know it's wrong. I keep doing it wrong and I need help. I need help because I can't stop on my own. I don't know how to stop on my own before we can get to the forgiveness. Not to say that He can't or won't forgive you, but it's those things in place that we have to acknowledge. Why ask for forgiveness if we're not sincere about it? We're not sincere about it because we haven't even admitted to ourselves that, one, we're doing it. Even though we know it's wrong, we haven't admitted or acknowledged it to ourselves that it's wrong. and that we need that very help to, one, stop doing it, and the forgiveness will be there. So we got to stop trying to get to the end before the beginning even starts. And I believe, because I know it can be instantaneously, that God can do all these things. It's not a shadow of a doubt in my mind that you can come to God, that He is a merciful, graceful God who loves us and who will help us through our mess, through whatever it is that we're ailing with, that we're dealing with. And I know and I believe He can forgive us. Because if you look at Matthew 19:26, and I'm just going to read this. But Jesus beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. When we try to do something to get an end result on our own, it's impossible. We cannot forgive ourselves. We have to admit to ourselves, we have to bring it to God, but we cannot save ourselves from ourselves. Every time we try to do it by ourselves, it becomes a very weirder thing. It gets even more messed up, even more jacked up, even more than what it was. If we just understand that in our own strength, in our own thing, we can't beat this thing. But with Him, we can. What is impossible for us to do is not impossible for God. But for Him to do the impossible, we have to admit that we are trespassing. We done saw the sign that says danger, do not enter, and yet we done tore down the sign. We done jumped over the fence. We done tore up the sign that said, I'm going anyway. I'm doing this thing anyway. And then once we get in there, we're like, oh crap. Oh man, woo, this is, woo, I can't believe I'm up in here. What have I done? So then we have to realize, it's like a realization, because we already knew it's wrong. Want to know how we knew it was wrong? Because we saw the sign, we saw the chains, we saw the gate, we saw the sign that says do not enter. What? Do not trespass. You want to know why it's a trespass? Because if we go through that gate and we know we shouldn't be going through that gate, then we know we are doing something wrong. That's why it says do not trespass. And yet we would tear it down. We are going to figure out how to get to that thing. And then once we're on the other side, we already know that we're wrong. But it's like in the midst of whatever's going in on that gate that we wasn't supposed to even touch, it's like the realization comes, I'm wrong. And I'm now into some stuff I can't get myself out of. It's impossible for me to get myself out of. That's where the acknowledgement comes from. And once you can acknowledge that, then you can come with that. Lord, I know I'm wrong. And I know what I did was wrong. And I need help. Because I don't know how to get out of this situation. I don't know what to do. It's impossible for me. Because at first I went anyway. And now I can't get out. I don't know what to do. Help me. Help me deal with this. And being the loving God He is, I know He will help you. And once you acknowledge that and He can help you, instantaneously the forgiveness is there. But it's in your heart knowing that you are wrong. And you can admit to Him, confess to Him, go to Him, I'm wrong. I'm absolutely wrong. And don't be afraid to get specific with that thing. I'm wrong about this. And I know I'm wrong about this. And I don't know how to stop it. I don't know. I put it in full force and it won't pause. It won't stop. I don't know how to get it to stop. It has spun out of control. It has now become impossible for me to stop it. It's in full force. I don't have the know-how to get myself out of this situation. And I believe He will help you out. He will reroute you to get you out of what you are in. And the forgiveness is there. But it starts with you knowing and acknowledging, truly acknowledging, I went through a fence. I went through a sign that says do not trespass. And now all this other stuff is going on. So be blessed. And just remember, sometimes before we can get to the end result, we have to know what the beginning is. It has to be a realization up in here with you. It starts with you. We can bring it, we can confess it. And the deliverance, the forgiveness is there. But we can't get there if we don't even acknowledge the fact of where we're at. So be blessed. I hope you have a wonderful day. Again, stay warm. Visit us at www.symphonyreadswithaness.com. Look us up on Facebook at Symphony Reads with the Nest. Look us up on Twitter at Reads with the Nest Symphony. And always you can email us symphonyreadswithaness at gmail.com. Be blessed.